have a personal mission in this game to spawn a chest on top of Major Pain's stuff. It is Major Pain. So I, after successfully completing the Unbearable Revenge quest, the way that I believe it was intended to be done, by cheesing through the geometry or no clipping through the geometry, I wanted to go back to the drawing board and finish the proxy, because, like I said in that video, I'm able to do quite a bit by manipulating just the client. And as a matter of fact, I'm able to do everything that I need to do to complete the challenges in this game, which is why, for those of you who don't want to or might struggle with writing your own proxy, we just have the Lewis script in Wireshark or our own sniffer, and that is really all we really need. And honestly, now that I think of it, Cheat Engine does update the X, Y, and Z values, so you probably don't even need the sniffer, now that I think of it. But yeah, just being able to manipulate the game client gets us everything that we need. In any event, you know, the more you attempt, the more you learn here. When it comes to this kind of work, you learn just as much, if not more, from failure than you do from success. The reason it took me a while to get to the proxy is, of course, I'm busy with other things. I've got many other classes this semester, but, you know, also I just kind of ran into a couple of roadblocks, and rather than fight my way through them, I just honestly wasn't in the mood for the struggle until basically today. So I sat down, and I'm happy to report I did finish it. So here I'm logged into the game client. And over here, I have my proxy running. And, of course, it's real noisy right now. Just all it's doing right now is just printing out those hex strings. But it is showing me the direction of flow. And so the difference between a sniffer and a proxy is a sniffer doesn't actually hold up any traffic. You can't actually inject any packets. It's basically just intercepting and interpreting packets as they fly through, but it doesn't actually do any interposition or anything like that. A proxy will actually hold the packets and will allow you to manipulate them and then send them on to either the server or the client from there. And it took me a little while. Actually, I would like to talk about a couple of things that held me up. If you ever stand up your own Pwn Adventure 3 servers and you're running into problems, well, number one, my first problem is I'm working in Windows, and when it comes to low-level networking options in Windows, you're seriously limited by the operating system. Well, it's not that they make it difficult. They want to make it easy. That's the problem. They want to make networking as easy as possible. They want people to be able to plug in an Ethernet cord and everything work and continue working. So there are, you know, some settings that you can do, of course. There's some things you have to be able to control, particularly if you want your operating system to work for enterprises, but it's a lot more difficult. So initially, I had my game server set up the server ini file. Instead of pointing to the full domain for the game server, I just had it pointed to the public IP. And what that means is that when I would make a connection to the master server, the connection then, after brokering that connection, would be made directly to the IP, and there would be no request made through DNS to resolve the domain. If I was in Linux, this would be a much more simple task, but since I'm in Windows, if you want to route an IP, then you need to set up a port proxy. You need to point all traffic to and from an IP through to another location. It's just a bigger pain in the butt. Whereas if you resolve through DNS, then you just edit your hosts file, just as we did in previous videos, the last couple times I've ran this course, and you're good to go. So I ended up having to redo the connection settings up at the server just to have it resolved through DNS. Not that I couldn't have done it the other way, but it is, just trust me, a much bigger pain in the butt to do it if you have to set up port proxies or edit your routing tables and stuff like that. Yeah, let me show you then what it took to get to this point and develop an actual proxy. I have not yet added any injection. I will come back after I do that and explain that part of it, but I want to do this in stages so I don't overwhelm you with information all at once. So later on in this video, I will add the ability to inject a packet, and I will show you how that works, okay? Okay, so here is the skeleton I have for my proxy. So just a little background before I get into what this is doing. I tried a couple of different things leading up to this. I wanted to see what Python packages are out there that could maybe make this a little bit easier or more pleasant. I did really like Scapy. For sniffing packets and crafting packets, I could not find a better solution than Scapy, but Scapy doesn't really seem to do proxying, so I had to look for something else. I tried a couple of other things. I tried MapProxy and I think a couple of other ones. But at the end of the day, there was really nothing that was easier than just using sockets. So that's what I did. And in the end, when it comes to the actual injection process, I'm probably going to use a combination of Scapy and just standard sockets. I'm going to use sockets to create the proxy, and then probably Scapy to maybe craft and send, but I guess we'll see. Maybe not. I haven't gotten that far yet. I will, like I said, I will come back when I do, and I'll show you my solution. Also, before we get started on this, I want to make it clear this is not necessarily the best solution or the most elegant solution. This was hacked together over a couple of days, maybe a couple of hours over a couple of days. Actually, now that I think of it, it wasn't even really that long. Most of those hours were spent playing around with other packages. When I actually settled on sockets, this took literally like 15 minutes, maybe at the most. So anyway, point is, this is not the best solution. This is not the only solution. This is just my solution. And if it works for you, or if it works for me, that's great. If you want to use it and it works for you, that's just fine too. All right, so quickly a walkthrough. As you can see, I have commented out here a connection to the master server. I did originally have both the master and the game server data proxying, but honestly, from getting that part working, it seems wholly unnecessary to proxy the master server, because after authentication, the master server doesn't really have much to do with anything as far as what we're trying to accomplish here. So at the end of the day, I just let the master server be. So I didn't even point that anywhere else in the hosts file, and I just don't handle that data at all. So the connection to the master server is exactly as it is without a proxy. And then we just start a thread and target our TCP proxy definition, which does everything right now. I do have an IP to tuple definition because we're going to need to be converting IPs a couple of times here, and it's just much easier to have just something quick to help us parse that information out rather than trying to handle it every time. So the real work is done here in the TCP proxy function. I am going to use a queue system here for the injection process, but this currently does nothing. Also, I don't need proxy sockets anymore. I originally was going to do just do an array of sockets and go back and forth, but at the end I decided to completely separate those out, and just because conceptually it was getting so difficult for me to maintain like the if statement, and then if it's this direction, if it's that direction. It's just much easier for me to wrap my old squishy brain around two different, separate, distinct variables, and this is the client and this is the server. So that's just me. All right, so first we start up a socket and bind to localhost. Oh, by the way, unlike previous semesters where I used a VM and used a remote proxy, I decided this semester to go with a local proxy. So I don't have a VM running this. I am not pointing traffic to any other machine. I decided to run everything through localhost here on Windows. So we bind to localhost, and we wait for our connection to the game server. Then we make our connection out to the game server. So we connect out to the game server, and here I am just using the raw IP here for this. Then once we have our connections, and I just have a little bit of output here just to show, okay, yes, we're connected, yes, we're good to go. Then we complete our connection, and essentially anything coming in through the proxy socket is considered client data. So this is client to server. We receive that. We pass it on for now because I don't have any injection, so we're just interpreting, basically just sniffing right now. And we print that out to the console. Same thing in reverse. If it comes through the game socket, then we grab that, check to see if it's 0 bytes. If it is, then we break. Otherwise, right now we're just sending it on and printing it out, and that's it. That's all we're doing. And this is also wrong. All right. So that's it. That's all it's doing. Very simple. Like I said, it took maybe a couple of minutes to get this far once I decided I was just going to use standard sockets. So now let me... I know what I want to do. One of the potential solutions that I had for Unbearable Revenge was to maybe spawn items in my location to build a wall around the bear chest. I have no idea if it's going to work, but at the very least, I have a personal mission in this game to spawn a chest on top of Major Payne's head. That's something I really want to accomplish this semester. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go write that up, and the first packet that I inject will be a packet to put a chest on top of Major Payne's head. All right, reckon we got ourselves a solution here, so let me walk you through it, and we'll give it a test run. So I started writing the proxy code for the injection back when I was using Scapy, when I created the sniffer, because I thought that's the direction it was going to go in, but it didn't. But I was able to reuse that code, so right here, just as I showed before in the sniffer video, is what I had roughly for injecting packets. The difference is that I'm no longer using an injection definition, so we have no thread for injecting. So I'm going to get rid of that. And what I decided to go with instead is a queue system, because we need to insert those packets in that stream. So I still have, taking inspiration from the original Live Overflow and Beaujean proxies, I still have a command input, and I even stole Live Overflow's Pwn proxy prompt there. But essentially you enter a command, and then it will send pre-crafted hex string packets, right? This is what should be the instantiate string with the location changed so that it's sitting on top of Major Payne's head. At least it should be. So once we get our packet into the stream here, whether it's from client to server, I have two queues, one client to server, one server to client. So server queue is server to client, so the instantiate packet comes from the server to the game. So that's why it does that. So once it does that, then what happens? There's definitely a better way to do this, but again, I'm not the best at this. I'm just throwing something together here. I'm just making it work. So what I ended up doing is I just basically took the server. I just threw it in the same TCP proxy definition. Okay, so we have the client queue and the server queue, and here's the original. Just print out the data. Just proxy the packets and get them gone. But I did stop the print statements, both for our connection and for the packets as they fly in, because it's just too noisy. And if I want to see packets, I'll just start my sniffer, right? I can run my sniffer and this at the same time if I need to. I can run Wireshark in this at the same time if I need to. So instead I just added, essentially, if the server queue isn't empty, so if I inject something into that queue, then in the socket, in the direction that I want it to flow, attach the packet and send. That's it. That's all I did. That's all it takes. At least I hope so. I don't know. Let's see if it works, I guess. All right, I'm in, so that worked. Here's Major Payne with no chest on his head because I haven't injected the packet yet. All right, and let's do this so I can see what's going on while I enter this command. So the command, as you saw in the script to spawn the chest, is just spawn. So when I do this, it should print out the packet that I'm sending, because I want to be able to know that it succeeded. But I should also see the chest appear if it worked. Yes! Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Oh, God. It worked. Take this, Major Pain. Oh, God. Oh, that's hilarious. It's perfect. It's perfect. Is it solid to me? Because if it's solid to me, I could legitimately possibly use this to complete. Oh, it is solid to me. It is. Oh boy, that opens all kinds of possibilities up. That means I could create a tower of treasure chests and climb them, and it means I could potentially use them as I was thinking, as a wall. If the bears recognize this as a solid object as well, I could build a wall around myself to complete the Unbearable Revenge quest. Oh, that would be so awesome. Okay. All right, I'm so excited. Okay, we need to try this. Okay, but in order to get this to work, I either need to get location packets like in a circle around wherever I am, or at least around the chest, which would mean doing quite a few measurements to get the locations. Or I can get my current location and... Okay, so I'm so excited. Okay, I'm so excited about this. I should have waited to do the Unbearable Revenge video until I got this solution, but I just wanted to get it done. But I did promise that once I got this working, if I had a novel solution, I'd make another video. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna go and see how I can make this work, and when I come back, I will hopefully have the ability to build a wall around the bear chest, and then I'm going to create a new character just to do the quest again and hide in my chest bunker until it's done. Actually, you know what? That's another good question, is if I can spawn this bear chest anywhere, can I just like trigger the event? I mean, I can't now because it's been opened for this character, but if I have a new character, let's find out. Okay. Okay, we've got it. Let's first spawn the chest. Spawn. All right, now when I type the command burs, B-U-R-S, it should send the packet to start the event, which, if I remember correctly, is server to client, so it should be just fine. B-U-R-S. The bears are coming. Oh, but the timer doesn't start. That's, so disappointing. That means it's server side that actually handles the event. There's a server component as well. What if I press E and then... No. Okay. All right, so these are the packets that I captured when I started the bear event. This is the one that starts the event. So server to client, start the event. So yes, the server obviously knows that we triggered it and so on. And then here's the packet that the server sends to the client when we leave the area. It's the command to stop. Now the server obviously knows that we left the area because it's the one that sends the packet to the client. The question is, no, now that I think of it, flags are validated at the server because I noticed that when we log in, it sends a packet with all of the flags that we've collected and validates them. All right. So that leaves me with my other idea of potentially just building a wall of chests. What it will depend on is if the bears, because the server doesn't know that the chest is there. I'm sending a command to my client that seems to be from the server to instantiate an object in the game world. So part of the game world is handled client side, but part of it's definitely handled server side. We've seen enough to know that. So the question is will the bears, who are spawned server side and their location managed server side, or at least reported server side, will they know that there's a chest there, or will they walk right through it? I can't walk through it, but my motion is almost definitely client to server. I'm just reporting my position. I don't know how pathing is calculated in this game, if it's in the client or the server. So before we go building a wall, the best thing that we can do is test it. I'm going to create, just real quickly, the ability to type in a command and spawn a chest at my current location. And then I will manually just lay like 3 chests out in a line to see if I can kite a bear and they will walk through it, or if they walk around it. If they walk around it, then they know it's a solid object. If they walk through it, then they don't, and it's not going to work. But that will be an easy way for us to test this. So let me do that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got it figured out. So what I did is I combined my sniffer with my proxy here. So you can see over on the left-hand side there, that's just my current location, just as it was in my sniffer, except I'm not doing the interpretation from converting the hex values into floats, just because I don't know, I don't really need it right now. But it seems to be working. Wherever I'm standing, I can create myself a wall of treasure chests. So just type in spawn, bing, bang, boom. There we go. So I'm going to do this in an area where there are some bears, which means that I am going to probably need to clear some out if they interrupt me here, because it's not exactly fast to build all those chests. But I mean, it's true. I cannot walk through them. Right? I can't. So hopefully they can't either. I can walk on top of them. So I could build a bridge to the sky with chests. But I can already fly and stuff, so it doesn't do me that much good. All right, let's see if the bears can handle this. Oh, there we go. Oh, jeez, there's a bear right there. All right, come on. I want you to hit me. Oh, yep, right through it. But he did move around it. Oh, really seems... Yeah, he was walking on top of those things. So is there a... This could work. Like, he's pathing to me as if he doesn't know they're there, but... what I ended up doing is, as I said, basically taking my sniffer and mixing it with my proxy. So here's the game sniff from a couple of videos ago. I just got rid of the unpacking because I didn't need to see the X, Y, and Z, but I'll probably put it back in there so I can have my sniffer and my proxy. And then basically just take the X, Y, and Z that I was using for the sniffer before and dump those into the packet for spawning a chest, which is this, except for the X, Y, and Z. So I add those in there and send it off, and wherever I'm standing, it happens to do it. The chest was off kilter because it's using this for the roll, and clearly, actually, if I adjust that so that it's more flat, it might be harder for the bears to get around. Actually, that was from when I was standing on Major Payne's head. So that was my pitch, roll, and yaw position. And yeah, I suppose it makes sense that the chest is kind of standing upright then, because my character model's kind of standing upright. So what is the spawn bear chest normally? This here? Let's do... Okay. All right. I was about to wrap things up here, but let's give it one more shot with the bear chest's standard pitch, roll, and yaw so that it's more oriented correctly. And we'll try building a wall with that. All right, and this time I got my cheats on too so that I can get out of trouble if I need to. Right, there's a bear. Kill that one. All right. Spawn.
I take my gun and I go, pew!
That looks pretty formidable. I just don't know if it's going to work. Oops. Oh, I got a bear. I got a bear coming after me.
Pew!
Oh.
Pew!
Okay. That didn't seem to be working. Let me try and get this other bear's attention. God, look at the spread on G17 here. Hey, you. Come on. Oh, we got a winner anyway. All right, come on. Come on, I want you to hit me. I want you to hit me. Come on. No. It walked right through it.
Pew! Pew, 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 pew.
Right through it. Yup, it's almost certainly all handled server side then. Like, there is collision that's handled client side, but it seems as if... so, alright. Alright. Okay, whatever. Important thing... Hey there, QBMax. Alright, so that doesn't exactly work according to plan, but it does seem as if there is promise there. So there's a chance that we may indeed be able to make this work in one way or another. It's just going to require some more testing. I don't know. I consider what we just saw there to be inconclusive. It does seem as if the pathing is server side, but it does seem as if the client impacts the bear's movement because they do have to get around. They are colliding with the chests. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is really worth barking up, but I am going to do a little bit more testing and see what I can do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, we're going to have a lot of fun with this proxy now that we have it, because we're riding high here. Okay, we've got a new tool here that we're going to be using at least for future challenges, and certainly this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, then that's going to be it. I will show you in future videos the changes we make to the proxy, just as I've been showing you the changes that I make to the trainer as I go, and we'll go from there. See you next time.